That's funny. That's great. Should we do the accent portion of our? We're gonna do an accent portion.
Okay.
You ready?
Sure.
You have to speak in an accent.
Oh God.
Okay.
Hello, this is.
That wasn't real. Is this a real thing? Is this just a bit?
Cameras are rolling.
Hold on. I'm trying to give me a second. What was the question? Where are we going in 2027
And beyond.
Golly.
I don't think he's gonna do it.
Huh?
Is he gonna?
Are we done? Or
No,
No, this is the accent portion.
Sorry, hold on. Just give me a second. The first accent that came to my mind that would really get you guys going is trying to like work in like a Borat type of accent.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? But
I
I'm
like
my wife. You know what I mean?
This is Powering KC, a podcast by PLS about the people, projects, and businesses shaping Kansas City. We are Kyle and Jessica, local business owners, a husband and wife team, and the people behind PLS. Around here, we believe that local matters. So we're sitting down to talk about solar, business, family, community, and the stories behind the work. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Powering KC podcast. This is episode 3. We're going to be talking about taking the leap into business ownership. Last episode, we talked about questions to ask before going solar. This time we have a guest, Taylor Erickson with Erickson Build. We're going to be talking about his experience with business ownership and bridging the gap between how we met and projects we've worked on in the past and some that we might work on in the future. So this is Taylor, and I'm just going to let him introduce himself and his business.
Sure. Yeah. So obviously Taylor Erickson. Erickson Build Co. is the name of our company. Started in 2018, April of 2018. So just over 6 years now, I guess. I could go back beyond that as to kind of how I got into the industry, I guess.
We'll get there.
Okay, so we're not jumping into that quite yet. So, we primarily focus on, we're a residential general contractor, construction company focusing on ground up new builds, and then also kind of full home additions and large, interior remodels to existing houses. So a little bit of a combination of both on the new construction side and then the addition remodel on the existing side.
Yeah. Awesome.
What kind of work are you building toward right now?
I mean, since I started the company,
No.
the goal has been to, get into more new construction. But I felt like I was never interested in going out and buying lots and then putting up spec houses. I think that's one way you can like kind of accelerate that from, straight into the new construction side. But I've always felt like for the type of finishes and the subs we want to work with, it would be difficult for us to be competitive from a price standpoint to be doing spec houses. Like I feel like naturally we'd probably be 20, 30, 40% more expensive. And so it's kind of been one of those things I felt like we've had to grow organically to get to that point.
Right.
And so then it's like, it's just difficult because like, you feel like you're capable of doing those, custom new builds, complicated projects, but people always want to know like, what's your portfolio? Like how many houses have you done? You're like, well, I really haven't done that many, but I've done some, we've done some pretty complicated additions and remodels, like still the same type of finish on the inside on all of those, but we just don't have a big 20 or 30 project portfolio.
But that's like your niche though, right? Like you're not building
well, sure,
like more like cookie cutter type stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so
that's the goal anyway.
I think people are noticing that, and that kind of makes you different than all these other, a lot of other people.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of what led us to working together anyway.
Yeah.
Because I think that clientele is generally more interested in sustainability and
the investment side of like, I'm putting this much money into a house, it better be right the first time.
Exactly.
Rather than having to continually add on or whatever it is. So all the features.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm trying to think, when did we got connected in, was it 2023 or 2024?
God goodness. 23.
Either late 23 or early 2024.
Yeah, sometime around then.
We were working on that project in Leawood.
So we were working on the project in Leawood, the Cherokee project.
Yep.
Kevin Jones brought us in and introduced us to Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we met with Taylor once, and then we're like, yeah, let's go for it. And that was probably the easiest new build construction deal. But I think it lended to like both of our companies at the time, because it was like we came credible, and then we kind of knew you were also credible, and kind of got that vibe, and it was kind of obvious that you didn't really know much about solar in that meeting.
Very true. Yes. 100%.
But you're like, all right, we'll do this. And
I think the first meeting was on site, and then the second meeting was in your office, or was it flipped?
No, I think it was flipped. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think we met in the office, and then John
one of
and
your
our
architects
team,
maybe was there.
Could have been.
I think.
Okay.
Perhaps.
To talk about the logistics of like where we would put all the solar and how we would tie it into the electrical.
And to be honest with you, we got really lucky it fit like that well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a kind of complicated cut up roof.
Yes. And we got really lucky that, the 4 panels fit on the dormer, and then it just perfectly fit across, and that we got to
from the back of the house. You can't see anything from the front.
Yeah. It was cool to see that project from start to finish too. Because we were in the house when it was just framed. I think you guys all went up to the top, like.
Yeah, our electrician came out, and then we figured out conduit runs and how to get it to the basement, and then we just kind of phased it out.
Which is honestly the time, and even before that, when you should be having that conversation.
We probably came in at the right time.
Yeah.
Well, it would be better to be like from very beginning, but
right, which we weren't too far behind that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying not after drywall is up.
No,
right?
that makes it more
that
complicated.
conversation at the very beginning.
For sure.
Makes that a lot easier.
Yeah.
So that was really great.
But to your point, didn't know a whole lot about solar.
Yeah, that's okay.
How do you feel now?
That's pretty obvious.
Well, I feel like I know a little bit more. But I think that's like kind of the difficulty. When we're working on these awesome projects, like there's so many little niche areas, and like to try to know everything about every single one of them.
It's probably hard.
That's why when you find somebody like you guys that like know it, and have that level of expertise, it just makes it easier on us, because then we can say, okay, they've got this portion of it. We don't have to. I mean, we're there to aid in whatever we can and assist, but we don't have to be experts
for sure
in every part of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And then you introduced us to a project that we started today, which is cool, which is Parks Cabinets. And we'll be installing 100 kilowatts on that business. So thank you.
Yes, of course.
We appreciate that. So I think that there's a lot of possibility for us to work more together in the future, for sure. You guys are meeting on Wednesday.
On Wednesday about the land project. But that's going to be a unique one. I mean, that's potentially 1,000 or more feet away from the house.
Yes.
We'll see.
Ground mount.
Yeah.
And so, but again, nothing unusual. It's just adding it all up and making sure it makes sense.
It's kind of a new one for us. I mean, not for you, but for our business.
Yeah, I don't think like the ground mount itself would probably be all that, but then you add the complexity of having it be 1,500 feet away or whatever it is, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden things
the cart before the horse a little bit, because we have to like make sure all the wires upsize properly.
Right.
Do we need a transformer halfway for whatever reason? And so, but we got like 4 options or 3 options, I think.
Nice.
To consider.
Yeah. And if you've got the space for it in a spot where you don't want to see it, makes all the sense in the world, I think.
So, we want to talk about this episode of like taking the leap and like doing your own thing. So obviously like, I have a story, Jess has a story, but like we brought you on because you kind of started like when I did.
Sure.
And it's like continuing your momentum, getting to where you want to go. But I think part of the reason why we asked you to come was because you obviously like learned the trade somewhere else, and then gathered your skills, and then kind of, took that leap to be like, I'm going to finally do my own thing.
Sure.
And so we were curious, like, when did you always want to own your own business? Like as a kid, like, did you always think that? Did you have that like from your parents or from someone else? Or?
Yeah, no, not really.
Yeah.
I don't think it was. So, I mean, I don't know if you want me to jump into this right now or not, but like, I would say, so I worked for, a couple different residential construction companies, like new home builder, worked for one company and then made a jump to another company and was there for a couple years, and that was mainly doing like estimating, accounting, and financing. And so I felt like I had the back end, the kind of financial side of it, at least a good understanding of how all that worked, just because we were buying properties and financing them and, just all that kind of stuff that was involved. And so I felt like I had a really good understanding of that side of it. And I think at that point, like, started to get the idea in my head that maybe I wanted to do my own thing at some point, but I knew that I needed like just experience running projects on site because I hadn't done a ton of that. And so I went to work for another company where it was primarily just like on-site project management, a little bit of the estimating on the front end, a little bit of some invoicing and things like that.
You guys have very similar kind of backgrounds a little bit. In
a little
that
bit,
way.
yeah.
So as soon as I had a couple years of like site experience to go with kind of the previous time doing the kind of accounting and financing and estimating and all that stuff, like at that point I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to do my own thing. And I had some friends and friends of friends kind of wanting to do some projects, and they were small. Like our first project might have been a $15,000 like total project. Yeah. And had a couple of them lined up, like probably in that kind of ballpark as far as like total cost of the projects.
Yeah.
Like just kind of had the conversation with my wife, and she was on board.
Yeah.
We hadn't had a kid yet, but we were due in October with our first. This was April, March probably when we were having the conversation. And I knew like I could, just running the numbers, like they'd take me 3 months to finish them, and the profit by the end of the day would probably pay me for 6 months. And I was like, okay, well, let's just do it, because I felt like I could always go get a job if I needed to.
For sure.
If things didn't pan out, and then we were, I always say like very thankful for those initial people that like wanted to work with us, because that was, they had to have faith in me, and I knew what I was. Oh, for sure,
for sure.
And then thankfully the phone just kind of kept ringing, after that. So
yeah, very similar for us.
For sure.
I grew up in a family-owned business.
Yeah.
So my great-grandfather started one like how many years ago? 90 years ago.
85. Wow.
And
86,
so growing up, I always like went to the factory.
Yeah.
And my dad was always there. Summers I'd work there, and it was just kind of like, this is what you do when you grow up.
Mm-hmm. And your great grandma too.
And my great grandmother on my grandma's side had her own thing too, and so, but it was always like you probably felt this. It was like you get married, and it's like, okay, I don't have to sustain myself. I got to sustain us.
Yeah.
And then you start having kids, and it's like, okay, I got more people, and what happens if I fail?
Yeah.
So I started in solar in 2012, but then in 2016, the owner decided to just bail. And so all of us that were kind of at the top of that company kind of just did our own thing. And so I ran like everything post sale. So I wasn't really good at like the sales part of it.
Yeah.
And I knew
But you were good at all like procurement and all of those.
It was procurement, operations, and everything post sale. So I had to figure out like that part of it, which wasn't super complicated once you start looking at it over years. But I started the consulting part of it. So I was like, okay, we just built this huge company that just decided to close. I'm going to go help other people do the same thing. Mm-hmm. And from a consulting perspective, it was nice to have like all these clients like every month. And it was nice while I was also having a full-time job somewhere else. So it was kind of like a side hustle. Mm-hmm. But then it wasn't until we moved back from Arizona. We moved to Arizona for a year.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. So like the job that I got,
Chandler.
So like after that company closed, I was like, I need to get another job.
Right.
And so I actually interviewed in like how many different states?
15 different states.
Because there's not that many solar companies here that can sustain,
Well, and he was pretty high up at this point.
Yeah.
So
like we're going to do it. And so I moved to Arizona for a year, and then that company ended up selling to someone else.
Yeah.
But I was in charge of everything post completion. So warranty essentially. Yeah. But it was a $3 billion fund of solar that I had to keep running. And I'm still technically the last employee.
Do you want to say that?
Yes. I consult back to them now.
Gotcha.
But they're like, you can move back wherever you want. Would you like to stay on and keep managing this?
There's two large projects that are still under warranty.
And so I was like, okay, we're going to move back. I'll continue working for you. And then, but then I started consulting with these other companies. Like, frankly, we almost ran out of money in Arizona because it's really expensive to live versus here.
Oh, sure.
And so... And
we had just gone for months with you looking for jobs.
Yeah. And so all those companies that wanted to hire me but couldn't afford me, I was like, hey, let me come on as like a fractional COO or just operational person. Right. And I can give you all my contacts and look at it. And so quickly that turned 1 to 2 clients to 6 clients. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm really tired of like working for 6 different people now that just can call me and just
And your wife didn't
pull
like
me
it
different
either.
directions. So then it was in, but just like you, like, frankly, my uncle asked me to put solar on his house.
Yeah.
And it's just down the street and it's like a massive home. And so I was like, piece of cake, no problem. And that was like our first like big photo bomb or whatever of a project. And then that builder,
Which was a great way to start.
had a Chiefs player building for him, and he gave us his number. And then I did their house, and it's like, okay, we got 2 really cool houses here, but like I'm still like I just don't know, like
The solar industry
solar companies like
yeah.
come and go all the time.
Yeah.
Like they just turn and burn and whatever.
Sure.
So I was just kind of like policy, it's called the solar coaster. So like policy and tariffs and
Makes sense.
like every project's just like, let's see where we're at today. Like
Right.
there's no
Yeah.
like,
It's not very constant. I mean, there's a lot of change.
there's just a lot of changes and uncertainty, to be honest with you. And then it wasn't until 2021 where Jess was like, you just need to do this. Like you need to like go for it.
We need to do
Well,
this.
we
Because
need
I
to-
knew that I could make it look
Yeah,
nice.
I don't
and
mean to
sound
say
nice
me,
and-
but
yeah.
like we, and Jess is like, I can make this, because I was using an Excel spreadsheet. Like I
Sure.
was showing people like, here's your payback
Yeah,
and here's
yeah.
how much it costs. And
Yeah.
He would
And
the
Jess was-
proposals he was giving people. I was
was a
like,
one-page
you
Excel
can't do
sheet.
this anymore.
it made sense to me.
This is
Yeah.
pre-AI times, right?
I don't use AI.
I know you don't, but I mean, a lot of people could generate something. Right?
Sure.
Now you can,
Yeah.
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 But Jess was like, let's do this. And so at that point, all the credit to Jess, where she was like, I'm going to start creating all these flyers. I'm going to reach out on Facebook. I'm going to do this and that. And
Started a Instagram and
then
Facebook.
all these, and then luckily like this like rural community like reached out to us and was like,
Yeah.
hey, we've been looking for someone. And then they referred us to someone and
Yeah.
someone and someone.
It's been
and
very
that's
much
just-
like organic, like
Right.
you
And that's
said,
just kind
yeah.
of like where it started for us. And so all the credit to Jess is why we're here today.
Oh,
but-
wow. Thank you.
Yeah. But referrals. Like,
Yeah.
Kevin, we talked to Kevin sent us to you,
Right.
and we have this kind of big portfolio of like really cool properties. But what a lot of other solar companies do is just finance, and they just get this huge, they have just more opportunity, but
Well, from the beginning, my vision and your vision combined was to make it more relational and more of. He never likes this term, but I say it anyways. Like more of like a boutique type feel.
Said the same thing
Yeah.
here recently.
about
like,
you?
No, about our company.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Not. I'm hesitant to say that, but said the same thing.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, it's. I don't
Why'd
know.
you hesitate to say it?
Because it sounds girly or
Yes,
something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
See,
I know,
I told
but
you.
but it's true because when you walk into a boutique, you're likely meeting the owner or someone really close to the owner, and it feels small and it feels personalized and more upscale. And so
Yeah.
I've said that from day one that we are a boutique solar company because there's nobody like us.
Yeah.
I mean, if there is, they're not close by. So
I get it.
yeah. Yeah.
I
guess
think it's
I guess
probably
I should
true
talk
that people
about
could
my
probably, like your clients could probably call you at any time and talk to you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not like
Well,
so
same, yeah.
big that.
No, yeah. I
Like-
mean, you have direct
And I-
access to the owner, right?
And I
mean,
think that
yeah.
like our clients collectively want that because
Yes.
For
in
sure.
today's world, it's just so easy just to pass on and,
right.
have
Yeah.
a lots of layers. So,
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
And I mean, for us, like I've always said, like I don't want to ever be like one of the biggest builders in town. Like
Yeah.
that's never the goal. You know what I mean?
Same.
Like I'd rather keep our project, like the number of projects we're doing, fairly
100%.
small, and be able to be more selective on the type of projects we want to take on.
For sure.
You know,
Yeah.
so we don't feel like we have to take everything in the door because we've got this huge
We do the
amount of
same.
overhead and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So it means like the right it's got to be the right project. And then I think by being able to be selective, like it probably helps set you up a little bit better to be more successful on
I agree.
that project too. Because then you're not trying to like square
Yeah.
peg round hole, you know,
I agree.
make
For sure.
sense.
I mean,
So,
it's also taking a lot of faith too,
Square
right?
peg round
So-
hole. That's from one of my favorite movies.
Is it?
Yeah.
what movie?
The Holiday.
I've never
Oh.
seen it.
Yeah.
You haven't
They-
seen it?
No.
Oh, your wife has seen it.
She's seen it for sure. Yeah, I haven't though.
Well,
We
I'm
had
going to talk
parts of it.
about my business experience. Since,
Go for it.
We're all talking about it, but I started babysitting when I was like 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, it started there because I was like, oh, I can make my own money. Why wouldn't I want to do that? And why wouldn't I want to like have my own type of business? So I've kind of always had that entrepreneurial spirit. But no one in my family really were entrepreneurs. I mean, my dad kind of had like some side things that he did and stuff like that. But, I would say in college, I worked for free actually for someone who did a magazine here in Kansas City. And I saw her owning her own business and all the things that went into it. And it kind of scared me, but I also was like, that'd be kind of cool. This is kind of exciting.
Right.
And then after getting into the workforce and working in like a huge company for 5 years, I saw just a lot of things that I didn't like. And I experienced a lot of things that there was no work-life balance. It very much like dictatorship type stuff. And I was like, I don't think I want to do this forever. So I started my own business right like a month after our daughter was born.
Wow.
With my mom. And it was an Etsy business and it was a handmade business and somehow took off like immediately. I've always had like a really good ability at social media marketing and marketing in general. So I used Instagram because it was kind of a newer platform and I would just sell on there and Facebook and everything would sell out basically within like a week of posting it. It was all handmade stuff and my mom was making most of it to start and then she taught me.
It turned into this thing where it's like, I'm going to open for 12 hours and you can order within that and I'm closing. And so all these people would be like,
it was crazy. It got to a crazy point.
It seems so exclusive.
Yeah.
But like, honestly, she was like, what she was protecting was like constantly taking orders every day and customer service and whatever.
Yeah.
Where she could just get a whole bunch of orders and be like, hey, you'll get them by 2 or 3 weeks from now or whatever it was. And then don't bother me after that.
Amazon Prime was just becoming like really popular. And so people were expecting that type of turnaround from me.
Like it was already pre-made.
And I was like, no, like I'm hand making all of this. Me and my mom were hand making everything, either with a sewing machine or by hand. But I had that business for 6.5 years. And after working for myself, it wasn't something that could have sustained our family. It was kind of more of just like a side thing, and it let me stay home with the kids and everything. And I had learned a lot, thankfully, which I'm really grateful for my experience at a big company because I was working in marketing and I learned so much that I was able to translate to branding. Like my logo looked amazing and all of anything that I sent out to people, I got, a lot of just compliments on the packaging and the aesthetics of everything.
Right.
So that's something that's translated also to our business now. But I worked for myself in that business for 6.5 years and I was like, I'm never going to go back. So
you tried for like a week or two and then like with like some other like the marketing companies and stuff.
No. Well, I never actually I don't think I ever accepted the job, but yeah, I actually quit cold turkey. I quit my job at an insurance company, cold turkey. It's a great story because Kyle was not really happy about it. But we had just gotten married May 12th, 2012. And I was like, I'm probably going to quit my job like by the end of summer.
End of July,
which was my birthday.
And this conversation was like May, like 20, like right after.
I mean, it was literally like a week
like May 20 something.
Married. Yeah. And I had some like side things I was doing too, because I just always like to be doing stuff on my own and not fully be all in just for working for somebody else in general. So I think that showed that
But continue the story. She went to work like the next day after this conversation.
Okay, I was being harassed by somebody that worked for me and no one was doing anything about it. And I just reached this tipping point. It was a guy that sat in the cubicle with me. If he ever watched this, he would know who he was because it was rough. But I just had enough. And one day I just walked in and quit. And then I called Kyle.
It was like the next day.
I told him that I quit. And generally this company, because of insurance and all the sensitive information, would literally walk people out that day.
Yeah.
And they were like, please don't leave. We need you. What can we do to keep you? And I was like, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
They even threw a party for you too.
They actually threw a going away party for me. And I worked up until 6 p.m. my last day. And they made me like write a handbook for everything that I did and like help train the person behind me. And I had seen them walk dozens of people out. So I was sure that that was going to happen to me the first week. And then after that, I was like, they're not walking me out. I'm going to be here until the very end. So anyway, yeah, it is. And he was like, what are you doing?
You did what?
I have always kind of just had that faith of like, I'll figure it out. It'll be fine. So that's kind of what I think led us to be where we are now. Cause I was like, listen, we got this, we can do this. And he had seen so many negative things in the solar industry that it was hard for him to see around that, but I could see it from a different angle. Yeah, so
I like it.
Yeah. So yeah, anyway.
So when you did the transition, was there like a moment where you're like, I'm just tired of it and I'm fed up of working with someone else? Or was it like, I have all this stuff ready to
I don't think I was like fed up and tired with, I liked the company that I was working for. I think it was more kind of like a new challenge I kind of looked forward to. Yeah. And I think I just was wanting to, I don't know, just do my own thing because of just that like that motivation, that reward you get, you know what I mean, from building something, I guess, like I think that's part of it. I just was ready to kind of do my own thing. But it wasn't like I was not a different situation. I wasn't like fed up with previous like companies that I worked for, sure, maybe, but the one that I was at the time when I left, it wasn't anything that I was, tired of working for them or anything like that. I just think I was ready for, the challenge of kind of doing my own thing.
Did they inspire you possibly to do your own
probably thing? In some ways, maybe. Yeah.
I could see that being the case. Yeah. What about you? I feel like you want to tell a story.
No, I don't.
No? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Should I?
I don't know. Well, what about you?
Frankly, when I was up until 2016, I was like, we were doing, there was insane incentives back then. And so we took advantage of that. Tax incentives, but the utility incentives. So KCP&L was basically paying for systems back then.
Wow.
And they had a program from 2013 that was supposed to go to 2023 as a 10-year program. Yeah. And we took all that money in 3 years. So we were doing 100 or more.
The company that you worked for prior.
Yeah. In 2012 to 2016, we were doing about 100 commercial projects a month.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so, when it came down to like our slow months were probably like 60, but like December was over 150 because of
December
the tax.
Like end of year?
End of year. Yeah. So, and we were doing like school districts, Catholic churches, government building, like big portfolios of stuff.
Banks
because
too, right?
We did So I was just killing myself, and I'm not one to quit either, where I'm like, I just had so much responsibility. And a lot of our guys were like friends at this point. And it was kind of scary for the owner because if like one person left, like I think a lot would fall in the cracks. But at some point I was just like, man, I'm killing myself. And no matter if I work normal hours or crazy hours, I'm still making the same amount, and I might get a 3% bonus, which is, but it's like, so
it was kind of a blessing that the company kind of fell apart.
It was. I didn't see it at the time that way, but the funny thing is I didn't tell the story, but like one of the guys that I was interviewing with, he's like, we can't really afford you, but like, why don't you come in and consult with us? And I was like, okay. Like as if I like knew everything, Yeah. He was, and this was kind of a big deal. He was like, we'll fly you into Texas.
Oh, forgot about this.
You'll just stay for 2 days, and we'll fly you back. We'll pay for all your stuff. And I was like, cool. And he's like, well, how much do you want for those days? And I was like, you tell me. I was like, I don't know.
Tell me.
I was like, I'm making nothing right now, so why don't you just throw me?
Tell me.
And he's like, we'll pay you $5,000 for those 2 days. And this was like in 2016 or whatever. And I'm like, all
deal.
Right, cool.
I can do that.
And it was honestly a blessing, because then I was like, okay, I obviously I'm undervaluing my knowledge of what we did and my relationships and whatever. And I'm going to try to, in a way, monetize that, but also help other people. And so this kind of happened. So
but that was still probably a good deal for them. Like
it probably was, because
insane amount of money. Like it felt, well, right. Yeah,
but
exactly.
when you think about it from like a macro perspective, they're like, oh wow. Like, cause I gave them like our lighting, like it was about lighting, LED lighting. And so I gave them like our lighting tool and our relationship with this really like niche company in Utah. And they're like, this is amazing. And they got all these new offerings and stuff. So yeah, I mean, their upside was way more, but I didn't think it that way back then.
Right.
I was just like,
fun fact, our PLS actually started as Perez Lighting and Solar.
Yeah.
So that's actually what it stood for, because he was really into, like, he was doing a lot with the LED
once
stuff.
the rebates started going away for solar, we diversified into lighting. So we went back to all of our schools, governments, nonprofits, and retrofitted all their stuff to LEDs, because Evergy also had a rebate.
Gotcha.
And then we did all that, and we were doing 50 to 60 a month of those, and then that kind of ran out and whatever. So that's where we were.
Wow.
But yeah, it's kind of, but again, like I was just like talking to Jess every night, and I'm like, man, like we're finishing 100 jobs a month. Like, he's, doing pretty well on these, and it's like, what am I killing myself for? So
yeah, I mean, there was a lot of Christmas Eves that he wasn't there, or
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eves that he wasn't there. Like the last 2 weeks of the year, I don't think we ever spent together from marriage until that ended. So it was like, even our first Christmas married was rough, and I was like, this stinks. So some of it, like this last year, we were really busy, but we could say we're taking these 2 days off, but we were still working all of December. But what was like your first oh crap moment after starting your own business?
Like, did you ever like underestimate and like have to have a hard conversation with someone because like remodeling, like you don't know what you're getting yourself into, right?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking out loud.
Like, well, I've had plenty of those. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, just where but like, oh crap moment. I don't know. Nothing comes to mind like, immediately after starting or anything like that. I think early on, before I hired my first employee, like I've end of days would get kind of stressful, especially if we had like maybe 2 or 3 projects going, because you're in somebody's house, you're remodeling like in their house. And so you're like, okay, did everybody leave, things cleaned up? And so you're trying to hit like every job before the end of the day. And there's nobody, like, that's what's been, like, we don't have a huge team, but that's what's been so awesome about like having some more people on our team, is just like kind of, is somebody else like to lean on when you need something, or just somebody else to be like, okay, I got this portion of it. Like, you don't have to worry about that. That's like so freeing, I think, to just,
when you're starting out, it's like all on you, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
And you're relying on that person to hopefully tell their friends about you. And then
I guess if I was, this thought just came to my mind. So when I first started, like prior to starting the company, in my free time, I used to build furniture. And so, so that's what I did, like nights and weekends and things like that, like out in the garage, I would build furniture and stuff. And it was just a way to like make a little bit of money on the side. And so when I started the company, the initial thought was like, okay, we're going to build like the cabinets for some of these projects. And so we did that on some of the first couple. And that might've been like the one, like, this probably is not going to work. It's probably not the best idea.
Bit off more than you could chew?
Yeah, a little bit, because you're trying to manage the project, but then also build cabinets. And then like, you have a deadline of when you need those. And instead of like talking to your sub well ahead of time and like establishing what date they can bring them and scheduling the project around that, you're like, yeah, we'll have them done by then. And then all of a sudden it's like, man, we've got to get going to get this, right, and all that kind of stuff. So,
and you're responsible for both.
Yeah, exactly. So that was probably it. And I learned very quickly, I'm like, yeah, this is not sustainable long term. We should probably just, find a good cabinet company that we can rely on, and get their schedule, figure out when they can be on site, and then we'll just build our schedule around that. So. Yeah,
for sure. Was there any clients or potential clients that you had to turn away in the beginning, or that have you ever had any anyone that's reached out to you that you realize wasn't a good fit?
Yeah, often.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
probably more often than not now. That's I think that's the hardest conversation I feel like I have to, like, those are the emails, like when I get somebody that sends an email like through the website or elsewhere, they get our contact information and they send over, the information about their project and what they want to do. And we try to pre-qualify it some by asking like, what's the type of project? Where is it located at? Like, what's your budget? And those are the emails that I sit the longest there, just kind of blank, just like trying to figure out what to say because it just like it doesn't fit the location, like the budget,
Right.
like I know can't make sense. And it's difficult because I tell people all the time, like if I didn't own this company, like I wouldn't pay what we have to charge for our stuff. Like you know what I mean? Like that's just not, and so like trying to tell people like probably not a great fit for your project. Like I think that's the hardest conversation to have.
I get that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of like DIYers that reach out to us and like try to piecemeal it out.
Sure. I would probably do the same thing. Like if I, you know what I mean?
Sure.
There's also like a lot of insurance claims that we get. So like they call it rip and replace. And so taking the panels off the roof, setting
Like
them somewhere.
someone's getting a new roof.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
Taking them off the roof, setting them somewhere, and then coming back out and doing it. And we'll do that for our own clients because we know like how it was installed.
Sure.
But the biggest problem is all these other companies that kind of like turn and burn that like they'll send me pictures and I'm like, oh man, that thing is a mess.
Yeah.
I don't even know that thing was working in the first place. And so the last thing we want to do is we want to like, yeah, we'll do this. And then we just like open up a can of worms.
Right.
And I feel
we
bad
had to
for
turn
those.
one away or one or two
I
away
get like
recently.
one a month.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for those people because
the companies that are gone.
they probably
And-
financed it for like 10 to 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like on the flip side, I just don't know if it's quality or not. And I can't.
Or if we even have the time, if our guys have the time to do it.
And insurance usually pays you X, so you can't, like anything outside of that, like we can't have that conversation of like, hey, like we discovered this, you owe us X for the time or whatever, and they probably won't have it or whatever. So that's like the hardest conversation we always have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that.
That would be difficult.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, we actually also had to turn away someone that we were actually really excited about it, and we spent like an hour and a half talking to him. And generally, we get hired on the spot,
Right.
especially if we're both out there. Kyle calls me the closer. I don't know if that's true, but anyway. But we went out to this guy's farm out in, I don't know, so I can't remember where it was, but beautiful horses out there and a decent amount of land, and really talked for a long time, brought our engineer out and all sat around and, discussed at length. And then I think it was like a week later, Kyle gets an email and he had this spreadsheet of like 50 questions or something crazy like this that he was having 6 different companies fill out.
Oh,
and he
geez.
wanted,
He didn't tell us that.
he didn't tell us that at all in the
He lived
initial
in this
meeting.
community in Lake Weatherby, and it was just a normal
That's right.
community. And then, but he bought like the 20 acres or 15 acres behind him. So like, you got his
was like this.
backyard, and it was just like huge,
Yeah.
and he had all this
Very
huge
cool,
barn,
very cool property.
and everything. He was like a retired engineer, and so I was like, okay, because you're a retired engineer, I'm gonna bring out my engineer just so that you guys can talk shop.
Which we
and
never do that
we
on
never
the
do
first
that,
meeting.
but
No.
I do that to like make him feel good.
Yeah.
And so they
Sure.
knocked out all the questions, and then he left, and then we had another like hour discussion.
Talk to his wife.
And he's like, all right, this sounds great. And then I got these like such silly questions. Like, if the solar panels are closer to the meter, does that mean I get more energy? Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
But it was literally 50 questions long, 6 different columns for 6 different companies. And we both looked at each other and we're like, I think we're out.
Yeah.
Of this.
I had this conversation with him, and he was texting me and whatever. And I think we were probably going to get it at the end, but
He said,
he
you're
was,
my top 2.
but he was like so skeptical. And I just think that no matter what we do and how
Right.
great we do, like there's gonna be something wrong with it. And I just was like, I will continue to answer your questions to support you, but we will not do this project. And he's like, well, what do you mean? Like,
You were my-
why not? Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, I just
If we
don't see this going in the way that we prefer. And so, but if you have
Totally
like,
valid
some of
to
your
have
questions, like I'm happy to give you my perspective.
Yeah.
And so he's like, all right. And then he just kept sending me questions.
That was one of the
But-
biggest ones that we turned away because we had already spent so much time and we're like, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So quality over quantity.
for sure. Yes,
But
absolutely.
yeah. Have you ever messed up on a project?
Yes. Well, I mean, like, we've definitely.
He's in the construction industry.
Yeah. Well, I know, but like the customer envisioned this.
Not to sound rude, but that's just.
And you completed that, and then you're like.
I also think I said earlier that I started in April of 2018, and I said that's like 6.5 years ago. It's like over 8 years ago.
Yeah.
For some reason, my math
but that's
was off.
because we all want to believe we're younger than we are, right?
Exactly. Have we like, if I look back on projects we did at the beginning, like definitely like would have done them differently now. But I also think, that's kind of part of it.
That's how
you know
it
what I
goes.
mean? Like you just kind of naturally get better. Like I would say the biggest, like, I feel pretty good about everything we've done. Like for the most part, like, you know, we've gave it our best effort at the time with what we knew. And I think like what you charge at that time is relative to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've had a couple projects where, and I take like total responsibility for it, where I probably missed on the estimate side of things. Cause it's frankly hard. You know what I mean? Especially when you try to get into like the first few projects that are,
well, with custom
bigger,
too.
and the ones that are more complicated than anything you've done before, like that's a little difficult. And just trying to like project what all those costs are going to be before you even, you know, pick up a hammer or you know, demo anything or even start on it. And so those are the ones. And like I've, I guess I've taken the approach like, we're in it for the long haul as far as the business goes. And so I'd rather kind of eat it on this project more to keep like a customer happy. You know what I mean? To like try to maintain a reputation. So if that means like I did a couple projects where we didn't make any money, like I'm okay with that. Cause I think in the long term, you know, and I'd rather like, I think it's in a weird way, like been an opportunity on a couple of these jobs to be like, you have a kind of a difficult conversation. Like homeowners aren't, you know, understandably so, like they can't spend anymore. They don't want to spend anymore. You're like, all right, I'm going to eat this, but I'm still going to finish this. I'm going to make it right. I think it like opens an opportunity to like maybe in a weird way, like earn back like more of their trust and faith in you, because they're like, holy crap. Okay.
Well, that's invaluable.
The fact that you're going to do this, like we're definitely going to like, you know, continue to pass your information
100%.
along and things like that. And so
Yeah.
I think the more you do it, like for us, the more we do these, you know, we just have this like historical data of what we ran into and just able to like kind of see into the future a little bit better on what, you know, some of these things we could run into. So that definitely helps for sure. But also just being better about having the conversation like early on, like, look, like we're doing everything we can. Like this is a complicated remodel. We brought every sub that we have through the project. Like we've got the plans, but still, even with all of that, like there's certain things we do not know. And there's a good chance, like, you know, something's going to come up that we're not aware of. Like we try to have a contingency for all of that.
Sure.
But
Sometimes
it's still possible. And so just even like having that conversation and making sure they understand that instead of being like, nope, we've got everything covered. Like, you know,
I think the construction world is just so like hit and miss. Like I think like change orders are just like a thing. Like it's like normal
change orders
to like to that. It's like to a lot of people, it's just, I'm just going to change order it and da 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 da. But like what Jess and I have heard consistently is that like they like working with you. To be honest, like no, but like it's like I forget where we've been. We've been at 2 different places, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like everyone's so happy working with Taylor." And I think that is kind of an odd thing to hear from people in construction. And I think it has
the subs too. Like all the subs loved working with you. A couple of them were working on our basement. So
and I just think that speaks.
Yeah.
That's credibility to what you just said and believe, which is like relationship over.
I think that's
profit.
and for me too, that like that's good reinforcement. Like I think I owe a lot of that to the guys that work for me. You know what I mean? Or the people that work for me, because that's a lot of times a lot of the day-to-day stuff might come from people other than me, you know what I mean? And
100%.
so if they really enjoy that, then that means, you know, we've got, which I feel like we do. We've got awesome people in place. And so,
and we can speak to that too. Like people who finished our basement, like we liked every single one of them. And the person who managed it, we loved him and helped and appreciated his help so much.
That was not the case with our upstairs build, which was different.
But you know, I just think like, I think you're right. I think it's not just you, but I think it's also like the subs and how they communicate and
but I think,
cleanliness and all those things.
But I think it still goes back to you, because you're the one picking those, you know, having those relationships. And
well, it's the culture you're trying to set.
Correct. So I think that because of the people that you've chosen to work with, you've made it that type of environment.
Try.
So,
Anyway.
yeah.
So like being in our shoes, this is just random. Is there any like advice you'd give to someone who's thinking about taking the leap as far as, doing their own thing? Because I can't tell you how many people I know.
We've actually been asked recently about it for
who
advice.
are like really good at what they do, but they work for someone else and they just, but like, they have kids or they just, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to answer that myself. But
for example, his cousin took us. Well, his cousin asked us to go to lunch the other day, and they wanted to talk about how we got started and some business advice on some things that he's working on and whatnot. And that led us to talk about, what advice would we give to?
Yeah.
We didn't really know that's what we were going to lunch for, so we were kind of put on the spot. But yeah, I'd be curious to know what you would say.
I mean, there's, if you feel like you got everything in place to do it, like I don't know that there's ever a scenario where like, if you decide to stay the course with what you're doing, like, I don't know that you're always going to be like, man, should I have taken that leap, right? To go do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like because I got like a degree in accounting and came up through like the financial side of construction, I think it made it a little bit easier for me because I kind of knew the numbers and knew what I needed to make and all that kind of stuff. And so it was more of like a math equation for me.
Work backwards into it.
Exactly. And so I don't, if you're passionate enough about what you do and like you're willing to put in the time, like I think anybody who's got really the motivation to do it can go out and make about anything work. That's the awesome part about, the opportunities out there.
Yep.
I think I was thinking about this earlier, like about what I was working on earlier today or the last several days in relation to what we were going to talk about here. And like the one thing that like has to be said though, is how much time you spend doing things unrelated to actually like building houses or whatever that is. So like I was spending
The background.
a couple hours like just preparing documentation for like a general liability audit that we have once a year. But like those come up and then we have a work comp audit and payroll and everything else that is involved with it. You know what I mean? And like, cause I'm still doing kind of all the financial stuff with our company. Like so there's some of that too, like to be mindful of, like, it's not just always just running the business, it's doing marketing and recording podcasts. I mean, but which is great. You know what I mean? Like, but there's a lot more to it than just being out on site and observing subs and making projects go. So
For sure.
I think reverse engineering into it, like you said, like your expenses is kind of like where you should start, where
For
you'd be
sure.
like, I need to make at least this much
yes,
for this period of time. So you either need to save up for it,
right,
or you need to like side hustle your way to it,
Yeah.
or have something completely separate where you can focus, 90% of your time on your deal and then,
Yeah.
spend the other time making ends meet. But
If you're someone like me and you have more of a creative brain, you have to have someone like these guys because otherwise it's not going to work. You need to have somebody who financially knows all of that background, analytical, financial stuff that if your brain doesn't work that way, it's probably not going to go very well. Because for me, it wouldn't have gone well. This is why we work.
Right.
And, we do outsource some things and some marketing stuff, but he can't do what I do.
Right.
So
I sure cannot.
And, obviously you outsource your marketing
Yes.
to a degree. And
Flyover media.
Flyover Media
exactly.
is Zeb Wiley. Anyway, but yeah, so I think that being willing to look at yourself and say, here's the things I'm really good at, but here's the things I need help with.
right,
And, if you don't have that financial brain, you really need help with that because you cannot run a business without
Right.
that. So I don't do that. That's what he does. So
like the number of people over the years that have, you probably would get the same question. They're like, oh, do you actually pay yourself? It's like, well, yeah, like I've got a family to support. You know what I mean? Like I'm not doing this just for
yeah, they do.
fun, but they're like, I can't believe you actually pay yourself. And it's like, well, yeah, like what kind of business would it be if I couldn't pay myself for running the business? You know?
That's the biggest thing is like, I think people are afraid to do what people are afraid to do like what they don't know.
Yeah.
Like if their parents didn't do that, or
Right.
if you haven't seen that from someone else, of course, those other people that aren't doing their own thing are going to be like,
Well, those are the first people that
you
say
need to
stuff
be
to
worried
us like,
about
oh,
this,
I'd be
this,
so
and
worried
this,
if I
and
owned
right.
my own
are you going to
business.
make it? Like
Yeah.
you haven't even tried yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, you know, so like you're right. I mean, I think surrounding yourself with a mentor or someone who's done it and just
And other business owners. And
I think I've learned this
Yeah.
because Jess is involved in our business and is half of the owner, is that like I see things so differently than she sees things.
Sure.
And so like there's so many client opportunities or just ways to position something or whatever where she's like, where I'm like, I just don't know, should we do this or this? And then she'll come up with like plan C and I'll be like, oh, that's way better.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
there's even been things on site at a project where there's been some issue with something. I can't think of what it was recently, but I don't know. Do you remember what it was? It was something recently that you guys couldn't figure something out. And I was like, why don't you just do that? And you're like, oh, I never thought of that.
yeah.
You need to be like far enough away from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
to
I think
just ask
sometimes
the,
you can
like
be
to ask
too
the
close.
obvious question.
Yeah. I think having somebody in your corner who can see things in a little bit of a different way. Cause like you're an expert in your field.
Sure. Yes.
No, you are. And he's an expert in his field. Obviously you're still learning. We're always learning as people, but you guys are experts in what you do. And so I think sometimes you are so close to it.
Right.
And especially him. And we've talked about this, on our other episodes, but where he like can't see around it and I can see like over it, bird's eye view around it, and I can see it in such a different way and explain it differently that it, having somebody else around you that can do that and not have you be just like,
Right. Yeah. Tunnel vision.
tunnel vision.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that would be my biggest piece of advice for somebody thinking about taking the leap to own their own business would be make sure you have the right people
Right.
in your corner.
Yeah.
And also, as I said earlier, to like know what you're good at and know what you're not good at.
Yeah.
And outsource what you're not good at.
Can you
Right.
say
So
what your biggest hurdle is up to this date? Like, or maybe in this phase of your business, like what's your biggest hurdle as an owner? Is it growing? Is it adding more people or that decision? Or is it like marketing decisions? Or
I think it's like if I'm taking like right now where we say
Yeah.
it's probably biggest hurdle is getting opportunities at the type of projects we want to be doing. Well, kind of like what I referred to earlier, like
Yeah.
not having this big portfolio of ground up new construction, but we want to get an opportunity at those projects,
right.
That's probably our biggest hurdle right now. And so that's where I think a lot of the marketing and things like that, obviously Zeb's been helping us with, like, I think that's been a huge, benefit to us as of late, because then it can, like, we can show off things we're doing on the additions and remodel side of things and the new construction we've finished. And so, just to kind of show people that, yeah, we are capable of doing
How
that.
it translates
Well, 'cause,
to what they might want to
when
do.
we're putting an addition on a house, we're literally going through every single phase that we would in new construction. We're still excavating, we're still putting a foundation in the ground, we're framing, we're electrical, HVAC, so on and so forth. Like we're touching every single part of it. We're just trying to like tie it into an existing house and remove portions of an existing
similar
house.
but different.
Which might be, is it more difficult to do additions?
Yeah, I think it is.
I would think so, yeah.
I think new construction is easier. Now there's
sure.
there's some new construction is more complicated, like as far as just some of the details. But in a lot of aspects, yes, I think the addition remodel side of things is more difficult. It's definitely harder to estimate for sure. Because you can take a new set of plans
and just
send it out to all your subs, like it's all out there in front of them. But then
Right.
like to estimate on a remodel, you got to have people out, and like then you're taking some assumptions as to what's exactly going on structure wise or what's behind the walls or whatever. So,
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same for us too. It's easier to
sure.
get into like newer construction stuff where we can say we want conduits exactly in this spot and
Yeah.
this is how we know the roof's going to be or whatever, versus like how old is your roof?
Right.
How are we going to get to electrical service and all those
We
conversations?
don't get enough drawings or pre-plans, pre-construction stuff. It's generally like an afterthought. We do get some, but even like in the case where we worked with you guys, it was it was after you guys had already gotten to the framing portion. Whereas we have one guy that's been kind of talking to us for a year now about, drawing up plans and planning for solar, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen as often as people would think, I don't think.
Yeah.
So
it's easier that way. It's
So
actually
tell everybody out there, the second you're thinking about building a house.
Reconstruction guys.
Right, exactly.
Where it's at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's good for me, like knowledge for us too, having because again, we had never been involved with you guys or a solar project.
Sure.
And so now knowing like, hey, if that's of interest, like we need to be having that conversation when we're breaking ground, you know what I mean? So that, or maybe even before that.
Yeah.
Right. So we've got a plan in
You can
place.
just ask everybody that you work with.
Right.
Right?
Here's a box to check.
Yes.
Solar? Yes,
exactly.
or no?
We have a preferred vendor.
Yes.
That's funny. That's great. Should we do the accent portion
Yeah.
of our? We're gonna do an accent portion.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Sure.
You
I
have
don't
to
know.
speak in an accent.
Oh God.
Okay.
Hello, this is Hello, this is Jessica Perez. We're here for the accent portion of this. I can't do it. Okay.
What accent are you gonna speak in today?
That wasn't right.
Go ahead, Taylor.
Oh man, you guys threw me. Is this a real thing? Is this just a bit?
Cameras are rolling.
No, this is real. This is
Where is Erickson Bilko going in 2027
I
and 20
can't.
and beyond?
I would love to know.
Oh my gosh, the
I'm
first
crying.
thing that. Oh man.
I'm gonna end up with black running down my face now.
Hold on, I'm trying to. Give me a second. What was the question? Where are we going in 2027?
And beyond.
Golly.
I don't think he's gonna do it.
Huh?
Is he gonna? I just want to throw you a loop. That's all.
Oh man, are we done?
No, you-
No, No, this is the accent portion.
Sorry, hold on. Just give me a second. I'm trying to.
You can go Western if you want.
Man.
This is really for your wife.
Huh?
This is really for your wife.
Well, I was trying to like the first accent that came to my mind that would really get you guys going. I was trying to like work in like a Borat type of accent.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? But
I
I'm
like
my wife. You know what I mean?
Oh man, you got
my
really
gosh.
hot. Here.
I know. I need a tissue for my eyes.
All right, that's good.
Do you feel a lot of pressure as a business owner?
Times. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you guys?
Often.
Well, yeah, the
but
solar,
stuff I can't
the
control.
solar industry.
Because of like deadlines and things like that. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
So like it obviously, so like the tax credits have been around since 2008, and so every it keeps getting re-upped and whatever, but no one can say for certain.
Right.
Although there's stuff out there right now, if it's going to.
Yeah.
Even though they just axed it like a year ago, so we have this looming deadline coming of
And uncertainty, too.
2 weeks. In 2 weeks, if you sign up within 2 weeks, which is what we're going to talk about on Wednesday, but in 2 weeks, if you sign up, then you get an additional year, or in a 27.
Yeah.
And solar still makes sense outside of this tax credit. It's just a different conversation,
Right.
and it makes sense to less people.
Yeah.
But
So,
yeah, it's a lot of pressure to have like your entire industry change like in a
Right.
year's
Well, that
time.
on top of every probably 18 months, there's like a new tariff case.
Yeah.
Regardless of
Yeah.
what the current administration is doing, like since
I
2012.
feel like it's like every 6 months at
Now
this
it's
point.
like every 6
Yeah.
months, but because of that, like everyone halts production,
Yeah.
and then therefore supply and demand gets out of whack, and then once they start up again, it's like, okay, there's this lull of like 6 months where there's no supply, and it's just all over the place.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's pressure from that perspective, but from like a business perspective and like helping people and wanting to help people,
Yeah.
like no, I mean that's what
That's
drives
the
us.
fun
Yeah.
part.
It's
That's
just
what
the
makes it worth
uncertainty,
it
like,
for us.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's a very uncertain world for solar, and we try to provide ease and certainty for our clients.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do that.
Yeah. I think the pressure side, like you said, like obviously when projects like getting close to finishing, you know what I mean? Like things along those lines, deadlines introduced, that sort of stuff. Probably the pressure that I feel like most often, and I'm sure you guys are the same way, like care so much about like reputation of the business and myself. And so I don't ever want like a customer to be frustrated with, you know what I mean? And perhaps like, frustrated, whatever it might be. And so like, that's the type of pressure, like when I get that that text message or whatever on night or weekend or something like that, that's probably, you ask my wife too, that's probably where I feel the most pressure. It's like, oh crap, you know what I mean? Because
you care.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like
Which is a good thing.
Well, yes, for sure. Well, that's exactly. But I would say that like consistently probably is the most like pressure that I feel.
So like for us, like we care about like helping people because for us, they don't have another option to purchase their solar, right? Or their energy.
Yeah.
Well, they do, but
they through energy.
Their energy. I'm sorry, I thought you said
so
solar.
like we're kind of like what makes it worth it for us is like that we give these people, our clients or prospects, an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And for us, that's like kind of the American way, in my opinion, of like not getting stuck to like one
monopoly
way to do things. Yeah. And so it makes it worth it for us. And when we talk to people like that and we help them see it that way, then usually it's pretty easy to connect as a client. So that kind of continues my motivation. Like if we
lower energy bills are motivation enough, because when we get those texts from people with negative $14.
Yeah.
Actually, it was 22 last month, wasn't it?
Highly skeptical people will start sending us text messages of their bills.
So
that's really cool.
Yeah. That's what makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
And they're so happy. They're so happy that because, once they pay themselves back for the initial cost of their system, that's what they're going to be seeing more of that, for years and years and years. So.
And what we started doing this year is generally like we turn them on and then I'll like reach out to them and be like, hey, you're up and running like via text or whatever.
Yeah.
And this year we decided to like go out there and be like, hey,
show them how to work
like,
the app.
Here's your system. Like, what do you think? Like, how did we do? Like, could we have done something better? Do you have any questions? And like, it's just led to like even more relationship based at the end, because I think generally people kind of like close the books and then they just kind of like move on. And I think like
we've
actually
never done that, but
spending time, like I always text them and I'm like, hey, you're looking good or whatever via the app. But
I even brought an 8x10 photo to a client last week because they wanted one of their drone photos, and they were joking, but
I sent him the pictures and he's like, I'll take an 8x10. And that was like 3 months ago.
An 8x10.
Like,
that's awesome.
I'm going to bring it. And so
he was like, wow, I should be careful what I say around you. And I was like, well, now you have it.
And he gave us some eggs.
And he gave us eggs. Yes, he did.
That's awesome.
But is there anything like that makes it worth it for you?
I mean, I think for us, it's kind of, I think the answer is kind of easy because we have like this very tangible finished product. You know what I mean? Like that we started with whatever it was, whether it's ground up or what it looked like before we started the remodel. And then you get to the finished point. You know what I mean? You can walk through a space and look around and see how it's finished. Like that to me is what makes it all worth it. Like very rewarding in that sense.
You ever wish you could do like that? Like you're going to move out and then we're going to like pull the curtain and like the HGTV
No,
stuff.
they do that stuff in like 48 hours.
That's crazy.
Like
do
how,
they really?
Yes.
Like the reveal
Oh
though, like the reveal where I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Because you usually see like the progress.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, finally. But
yeah, I did talk a little bit. We had a client that left to her old kitchen, and like they went out of the country, and then they were living elsewhere for the winter.
Oh wow!
And so they left with the old kitchen. They came back for like a night when we were like halfway through the project. When they got back from vacation before they went away for where they go for the winter time, and then she came back to a finished kitchen. Now she saw like photographs and stuff along the way, and so she wasn't like completely blind, but that was probably the closest we get to it.
Got it.
That's cool.
Which was cool for us because that's like ultimate trust in us and the interior designer to just be like, we made all the selections, you guys have it, and let me know if you need anything. So,
but like at the end of each project, is it more motivating when people are like, "This was great"? Like
sure,
like
I think it makes
like
you
no constructive criticism and like
I think it makes you
because you just feel like you just executed it highly. Yeah,
for sure.
I agree. I think that for us, that's like what we strive for.
Yeah,
like it's more so that than like because we disrupt their lives probably a lot less than you do.
Yeah,
but still like.
But it can be pretty disruptive to have the crew
dropping stuff in their grass or
sometimes we have to use a lift.
Driving lifts through their grass and like I mean I tell our guys, I'm like, you're going to grade that at the end and then I'll send one of our guys to go seed it, and in whatever, because
which no other to our knowledge.
It's
Very
what I would
few
want.
companies.
I know,
do
but
that.
did it take like one time of like not thinking about, like maybe
Yes.
you always, you
I got-
like didn't think
Whose
about
was
it
it?
one
Was it
time, you
Isla's?
tear up the yard, you get a message from a homeowner like
Well,
mad about their yard being torn up or
No,
something?
there was a project where we just like it just so happened it rained the night before we got the lift,
Oh.
and then we had it was a December deadline, and so we had no
It was
choice.
this
Like,
last December.
we couldn't
yeah.
wait, and so we sent someone out there, and they're like, yeah, you can see the rivets, but I mean, obviously the grass got torn up. It's a huge lift, and it's 40 foot building at least. And then at the end of the project, they brought another equipment out to like waited for it to rain a little bit and get a little moist, and then they leveled it out, and then we just laid seed down, and it's fine now. But it took that email for me to be like, okay, I can see that perspective.
Yeah.
And now we're more careful, like on the parks project, for his house.
Yeah.
You were concerned about that.
Yeah, we're gonna load it from the
Yeah.
front instead of the back, and just
Another
kinda
learning
go over.
moment.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I get it. For us, it's like it's just a part of construction, but I try to put myself in their shoes where I'm like, oh man, like
I wouldn't want my wouldn't want my yard to look like that.
Yeah.
So.
or just have all this equipment everywhere and cleaned up. Like we literally have like magnet rollers where we just go to every
We do.
project.
We bought
and
them on
just,
Amazon and
and we
just
just
go
like do it.
That's
And our
awesome.
guys like pick up pretty darn well, but like you just
Yeah.
there's impossible.
There was a
Right.
farm project that they have kids out there a lot, and we're not sure that it was all from our project, but we went out there with our stuff and just picked up anything that we could find,
Yeah.
and it made them feel better. And so now we have them, and
She sent me a picture of a nail, and then I was like, oh my,
Yeah.
like I would hate for that to land in some kid.
Yeah.
But then we
course.
found stuff that was like really old.
Yeah.
Already there.
but it's like
But like I'm
we're
happy.
here, might as well
Sure.
pick it up.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
But I think it makes it worth it for us at least just to get that feedback at the end.
I think another thing that makes it worth it is showing our kids entrepreneurship.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially like our older kids, they are very interested in being entrepreneurs, and seeing us working and finding that work-life balance, but also being passionate about what we do,
Right.
and watching us build our business from the ground up. I think they've benefited a lot from
Yeah.
that. So
Can you ever imagine not having your own business? Like now that you've done it for
No, actually I told Jess last week.
we just actually talked about this.
I was like, it's going to be like, it'd have to be a partnership with someone, like it'd have to be like where like partnering with someone else where we're both doing a business together,
Right.
like where it's not like just us, you
Yeah.
know, I think I would do that 100%. But being an employee for someone else, I think would be really hard because I would want to like lead it a certain way.
for sure.
Which might not be consistent with what the owner wants.
Right.
And therefore you create tension or whatever. And
You do what you have to do.
Right.
So if we were in a position that was like we have to work for someone, you'll work for someone
Sure.
else. But
I'm just like trying to like think
It'd be
back, like
hard.
put myself in like an
be
alternative
really hard.
reality where I like go to a job 8 to 5 or whatever. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
I
no
can't
freaking
imagine.
like
way.
you'd probably have a
Yeah.
vision differently than someone else, and then you would just go do it and you probably get in trouble.
Yeah.
I just working a 9 to 5, I felt like couldn't have been the more opposite of what I was meant to do back when I was doing it. And I would really skirt the system. I'd be like, can I work from home? Can I work from home until 9:30? And then, but I was so efficient, and I mean, I was so efficient, and I could get so much of my work done in a shorter amount of time that half the time I was just sitting there doing nothing. And I was like, I could be like going to the gym or doing something beneficial for myself. And so seeing all those holes of time, I was like, I don't want to work, strict hours like that, because I know that I can get this stuff done.
But also like thinking about it, like whatever your job is outside of 8 to 5 or whatever, like you ain't getting paid to do that. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah.
And so
I worked a lot. Overtime.
regardless if I work for ourselves or for someone else, I'm going to be like constantly thinking about it. So I might
Right.
as
For
well,
sure. Yeah, that's
do
true.
that. So do you see yourself working for someone else?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like I try to
Heck
think of this
no.
alternative reality where I'm like working a regular job, and I'm like, no, like
It'd be really hard.
yeah.
I feel like I would feel like I was stuck, or
I
don't know.
Yeah.
Well-
I feel like my I think Cause I was, so when I was at KPMG doing public accounting, I was there for like,
I didn't know you
yeah,
were there.
yeah. That's where I started at.
We had a lot of friends that were.
Yep. I was there for like a year and a half, and then I went to, I worked at Burns and Mac for a short stretch. I was there like just a contract employee. I was there for like 6 months, and then I went to a home builder. I was there for a year, and then next home builder 2 years, then next place 2 years. And so I think my in-laws, honestly, because like that was around the time when we first got married, I think they thought I was just like constantly job hopping.
Yeah.
But in my head, I was like, I knew kind of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do, and like identified pretty quickly that wherever I was at was not like the end goal. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, you know, what's the next jump or whatever that makes sense, and was just kind of like, wanted to get to where I wanted to be, you know, as quickly as possible, and kind of identifying that. So.
Nothing against people that work for other
No.
people. Like the security obviously is there. Like
just don't
receiving
think
the
it's
check,
for everyone.
and I don't think it's for everyone. Obviously, I think there
And
are
business ownership is not for everyone. It's you know, it's a different.
It's just different.
It
It's
is.
high risk, high reward, maybe I would say, but also more fulfilling in some ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to your point about like the job hopping, I think it's funny because it's like kind of looked down on, but I actually don't see it as a bad thing because I think it's better than staying somewhere that you.
Well, then you get stuck
like,
too. That's what a lot of people do is they'll work a job that they don't like for a long time, and then they get to a certain level and they're making some amount of money, and like there's no option to like branch off and go in a different direction.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing about like loyalty or moving on too quickly. But I actually look at it. I mean, there are definitely cases where, you know, it just depends on the person. But I also think that you can go somewhere and pretty quickly be like, I don't know if this is going to work out for very long.
Right.
And you've had experiences like that. I didn't really know that when I first started working in the workforce, but you figure it out. So. Kyle, why don't you give us your final advice for someone who is looking to start their own business?
Well, I think the summarize what we've talked about today. I think we've gone over lots of great stuff, but I think ultimately, if you're wanting to do something, I think it'd be really smart to maybe speak to someone who's already doing that. Maybe seek advice or a podcast or a webinar or something of that industry. And I think that going into I think you'll learn something that you maybe are assuming, and you might be proven wrong in something that you believe. So I think that I think you can only learn by doing, and I think there's
surrounding yourself with other business owners.
Well,
I think
and I think
is a big
you
thing.
can only learn by doing, because we've obviously all learned like the nuances and try to perfect our processes. But
sure,
I think instead of trying to go through all that kind of pain in some ways. I think you could probably learn something from someone else as well. But I do agree with what you just said.
Yeah. What about you?
A lot of along the same lines. Like I think getting advice from somebody out there doing the same thing is hugely beneficial. I think like I would go back to the understanding the numbers involved and like what has to happen to make sense to make it like viable for you and your family or whoever that is. You know what I mean? Like so. Even things like, okay, you know, how much do I need to make to cover insurance and all of the different overhead, you know, that's going to be involved in it. So you're not like, because I think that's probably where people get in trouble is they're like, oh, I can make this amount of money, right? This is what I'm going to charge. This is what my expenses are. This is what my net profit's going to be. And that's all to me. And it's like, well, no, you've got to pay taxes. You got insurance. You've got all these different things that you're going to have to cover, right? And that's where like when you start out, like a pricing model gets off a little bit, and the next thing you know, you're not making any money. So like that would be the number one thing. And then I just think having like a great system in place, again, like from the financial side, for what we do, that was for us was like very early on, just like establishing like our cost code structure. You know what I mean? So at any point in time, like we could run a report and see exactly what we made on a given job and have that real time like data of how we're performing, right? So you're not mispricing something, you think you're making money, and then come to find out like a year and a half later, like, holy crap, we didn't make anything the first year. And so the more like you can have like structure in place for everything in the organization, I think helps. But again, like you said, I think any advice that you can get from somebody in the industry, or even just somebody like that's started their own business, even if it's reaching out to any of us three, you know what I mean? Or anybody else out there that owns a business, like there's probably a wealth of information that can be shared. And so just trying to harness that as much as possible. And then because it's 2026, like I think you could, if you're into it, I think you could ask any number of AI agents out there and get a lot of really good information very quickly too. Like it's amazing how quickly you can pose a question to it and it can give you like an entire business model of what that's looking like too. So
I think we learned very quickly like how much like business insurance is, health insurance. Like I thought it was going to be like X and it was Y.
Yeah.
And just everything else. Like there's just like a whole lot, like payroll taxes, like we pay ourselves, but then we also pay payroll taxes. And it's just like
I'm going to interject a little bit because I do think that this could all feel really overwhelming to somebody
100%.
looking to start their own business. And as like more of a visionary type person and a creative, I think that you just kind of have to do it. 100%. You kind of have to just go for it. Because
there's never going to be a right time.
Right.
No.
I was as I'm like spewing all of that out, I'm like, holy crap, I better stop. And
because
then like
to me, again, as the person who's not minded like that, my first thoughts were like, how can I make this great? How can I make this look great? How can I reach more people? How can I market this? What are ways that we can connect with people on social media and other platforms? And so, there's so many things that can go into it from all those different perspectives, but I think just going for it and figuring it out as you go, having some type of plan is great, but overthinking it will keep you from doing it.
100%.
Honestly.
And I think that I might have done that. Like if my wife wasn't just like, you should just do it. You know what I mean? Like she just like made that recommendation and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
If you need a plan B, like have that in place. Like if that makes you feel better.
And you'll probably figure it out if you don't have a plan B.
I have all this figured out, but
yeah,
here's my plan B just in case. Like maybe that helps a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have both of those sides, financial, analytical, creative, vision covered between.
You're like hitting me with that.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit you with it. But if I would have gotten super stuck on like, I don't know what to do and like, how do I do this? I just kind of went for it and I started figuring out branding and a website and art stuff. And then we changed it eventually, and you'll do that. You'll change it as you go.
Right.
So I think just going for it is a big deal, and just taking the leap, as per our episode is called.
I think your first sales are your champions, right? I
For
think those are the
sure.
ones that could potentially lead to referrals and other things, and you could always point back to them.
Right.
Because ours were.
Yes.
And you can always be like, hey, call this guy, and he'll tell you how great we were.
Yeah.
And so really
Do a great job so that you get referrals.
Yeah.
that's the way to do it.
That's
I think
it.
a lot of people, I'm not going to say a lot, but I think some people think that like you just like put all this stuff out there and then people are going to start calling you.
Right.
And that happens eventually.
Yeah.
Right.
We kind of thought that.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the years, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that I think referrals are probably just as good or better than anything else.
Right. Yeah.
In my opinion.
Well, and referrals can point people to the stuff that you have.
And I think
created.
we've learned so quickly, like how many people are just thinking about like a remodeling job or thinking about a solar project or whatever. And it's like, they just need like that connection to actually go for it.
Yeah.
For sure.
So.
Thank you, Taylor, for
Yes,
coming
of course. Thanks for the invite.
to episode 3 to talk about taking the leap. We are thrilled to have you as our very first guest, and look forward to working with you in the future.
Yep.
And we also want to invite our listeners to share your stories of how you took a leap to own your own business. Would love to hear those, whether it's on YouTube or in Spotify comments, or send us a message on socials, or tag us in your stories. That would be awesome. And then you can, if you want to talk about where people can find you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So our website, ericksonbuild.com, social media, Instagram, Erickson Build Co. I think we're on TikTok, YouTube.
Ooh, you're on TikTok.
Are you dancing?
No, no. I don't get on TikTok much, but we have
I would
content
pay
on
to see
TikTok.
that. Come on.
That will not be doing any dancing. So any number of those areas, yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Well, appreciate it again.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for coming.
That's a wrap.
Thanks for coming. If you enjoyed the conversation, follow along for more stories from local business owners, contractors, clients, and people doing meaningful work around Kansas City. And if you have questions about solar for your home, business, farm, or property, you can always reach out to the PLS team. We'll see you next time.